June 13th, roll call. Lynn Smith, Jessica Peters,
Present.
Jennifer Sullivan,
Present.
Bonnie Griffith here, Leslie, Maria,
Present.
Jay, Gretchen Casarati, Randy B.,
Present.
Joe Borden. The mission, our mission is to develop, advance, and nurture all facets of the arts to enhance the quality of life for Meridian residents and its visitors. Approval of the minutes of the April meeting.
Bonnie, if you wanted, you could approve both of these with one motion.
Okay. We have can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 11th and the special meeting from May 18th?
I move that we approve the minutes from April and May.
Seconded?
Second.
Thank you. The minutes are approved for those dates listed. New business. First of all, I want to thank with sadness that our friend Jennifer is leaving us. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for the commission.
Thank you, Bonnie, and thanks
appreciate it.
to all of you. It's been a pleasure becoming a team with each of you. You're all brilliant in your own ways and moving the arts forward, and I've been inspired by each and every one of you, including our wonderful staff here that keeps us going. So thank you so much.
We wish you well in all your future endeavors, and we'll look forward to hearing what happens in the Puget Sound.
Wow.
Thank you.
Initial point gallery lighting.
Okay, so this is a definitely new item for you guys. I did talk to Bonnie about it briefly because she's been the gallery liaison, but essentially Bill Young in our building department recommended that MAC consider switching their track lighting in the gallery to LED bulbs. One reason for that is because it's less harmful to artwork. Most of the art we have up there for only a month, so there's not a ton of damage being done by the lights that we have, but it is something to consider. And apparently it's something that other galleries have doing also. So I told Bill that we would at least get a quote and bring it back to you guys to consider, and he got us a lighting representative who recommended Sora bulbs, that's SORRA, because of their high quality, true color, and snap attachments, and those are basically little things that can magnetize snap on. So if an artist wanted to have something that was a warmer color light, you could have a warm, basically filter. And there are a few other snap kind of options that you could explore. You guys could always explore those snap things later down the line, as long as you got a bulb that was compatible with the snap component. She recommended either vibrant or brilliant lamps, and those range from $17 to $26. Basically, the more expensive lamp is the one that has better true color kind of ratings. They have all these very in-depth speculations about not speculations, specifications. I don't know about their lamps and how they interact with the artwork. So we have 20 current lamps up there. Originally, I wanted us to just add an additional fixture to each row so that we could fill in with more light. But the track fixtures that we use and the track system that we use is no longer made. So that's going to be a future expense that MAC will have to consider also. However, the bulbs that we're then considering that might make the gallery lighter and might disperse the light better are very commonly used lamps. So we wouldn't be replacing the fixtures and the lamps again. We would just find fixtures that also use an M16 bulb, which is a very common bulb for track and gallery lighting. So if you guys are interested in considering switching the light bulbs in the gallery to LED bulbs, your range for a consideration of not to exceed would be between $340 to $520, plus possible shipping. So I don't know if you'd want to just round that up to like 400 or 600, but Both of the lamps, the Brilliant and the Vibrant, are really high quality and higher quality than what you currently have in there. So if you weren't comfortable going up to $600, you wouldn't have to do that. That being said, you guys typically budget, I think, for gallery expenses to be around $500 in a year, so you'd be borrowing some of that from other expenses.
So Hillary, does the bulbs that you're speaking of, then will they retrofit into a new track lighting when these tracks?
Yeah, they should.
Okay.
Yeah, and she said a lot of those track systems don't last very long. Different companies get bought up by other companies, but as long as you have a standard bulb, which is what she recommended to us, it should be easy to use regardless of your system.
And so aside from being beneficial, safer light for artwork, they're also much more energy efficient.
That's why
They
Bill first brought it
They
up.
last a lot longer.
Yeah. I think they said 10 to 20 years. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's insane. So I think the value's there. Just depends on what you guys wanted to do. If you wanted, we could ask if we could try to order them towards the end of the fiscal year, 2 shipments, and then get some in September and then some in October, and replace them all in October, if you want to try to spread out the expense. It'd be kind of confusing, but if you're that concerned about budget, but you want to go with the highest end. Yep.
Hillary, is there a cost associated with the labor for replacing these as well? Or is that kind of built into general building expenses?
The building absorbs that labor cost for us, yeah, very generously.
Hillary, do you know where we're at with the art gallery budget right now versus actuals?
I'll look it up for you. Okay, so we have, 348. Oh, no, we only have, it says budget remaining 151. So it would be, the bulk of it would be then from other expenses. And/or I could submit a budget amendment to use some of the donated funds that had been donated from artists that have displayed it in the gallery. Just submitted another budget amendment today, but I can do another one. And then, so if you want to see your donated, so revenue that you've received this year from the gallery includes over the cost of what the lighting would be. So Lisa Bauer donated on behalf of the gallery, and then the online jury shows revenues were from the gallery application. So we could request to use those funds.
So is there any other discussion about the lighting? And Hillary, what do you expect to get from today's meeting?
I would love if you guys are considering, if you guys are leaning towards considering purchasing them. It looks like I would likely need to do a budget amendment either way. So I'd like to know what you'd like your not to exceed amount to be so that I can make the budget amendment for that not to exceed amount.
Any discussion?
I mean, I think LEDs are a way to go anyway. They're more energy efficient. And I think we have more than enough from the donations, possibly. It just makes sense to get it from there because it's kind of a win, it's for artists too. And I don't know, I think 600 is reasonable. But what do you guys think?
I agree. We want to support the quality of the art, and they last longer, and I think it's a fiscally responsible thing to do.
Yeah. So do we need a motion then, Hillary, to?
Yeah, I actually drafted a possible motion for you on your screen.
Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that we authorize a not to exceed of $600 for LED lights to be purchased for the gallery. And then I also authorize Bonnie and the city to determine the best fit for the specific bulbs that are chosen. So we could spend up to 600, depending on what you guys decide.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is that we will not exceed $600 for the LED lights to be purchased for the gallery. The city staff and I will determine which is the best fit for the lamps to be ordered. Do we need to know, do you want a timeline for that, Hillary?
I don't think a timeline's necessary.
Sometime this year.
This fiscal year.
Also, please note for the record that Joe Borton has joined us.
Okay.
In regards to the lighting for the gallery, all in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. Public Art Committee report.
What was the motion that just happened? Did C happen? Initial point gallery themes
No.
and schedule? Okay.
The lighting. It was just delayed.
Did you want to cover item 4C?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
Yeah.
just looking at initial gallery.
No worries.
Okay, so the initial gallery themes and schedules for 2020. Hillary and I had discussed, and I think at one of the previous meetings, we had talked a little bit about doing some themed shows next year. One of the themes was I had considered inviting some cancer survivors that are artists in the area to show their work. And if there's anybody that has any other themes that you all might like to see brought forward in the gallery, I'd be happy to entertain those ideas and then seek out artists accordingly. We do have the Idaho Arts Commission, as you all know, is sponsoring the My Entrepreneurial program. And annually, that organization likes to do a show of the works of the artists. And this is the second year in Idaho for that program. So there's quite a bit of art because there's about 20 participants this year, and I think there was about that many last year in the program. So we have asked that group to show December and January of 2020, which will be a really nice show because it's a diverse group of artistic talents. So, but there's still a lot of other opportunities. So if anybody has any ideas for themes for the gallery, would be happy to entertain that. And we don't have, not every show has to be a themed show, but it's just sometimes a nice thing to do rather than just invite artists generically.
I did hear about a group from Boise. I think it's from the Refugee Center, and they have a group called Artisans for Hope, and they like to showcase cultural kind of artifacts or handmade baskets and crafts that they like to put on a show. I don't know how often, but I did hear about it from another friend who was involved in a lot of nonprofits, and I thought that might be something that we can possibly, I mean, if you guys want to put on more themes. But I haven't personally have talked to them before, but just put forth.
Great.
I don't know if this is a specific theme or I mean, ideally it would be maybe something that we're incorporating more in all of our shows, but kind of along the same lines as that, just trying to make sure that we have more diversity in the artists that we reach out to and invite to show and have, we've had some repeat artists who are wonderful artists, and it's great to have them, but it would be great to have some new folks and some folks from different communities around the Treasure Valley who maybe are communities of color or differently abled or, making sure that we're reaching out to and inviting artists to come show that aren't maybe sort of repeats that we've had, get some more diversity.
Yeah.
Okay, great suggestions.
Laying off those ideas, I don't know, have you all watched The Librarians? Is that a common enough show? Oh,
I've s-
maybe not.
I've heard of it.
saw them.
Because I was thinking, bringing in all these cultures, and when you said artifacts, I'm like, that could be really kind of a cool header theme to say the librarians and have all the special things, and then maybe the artists can make up a superpower that their art represents. Yeah, for the culture. I don't know if you can tie it into
That's
something
fun.
kind of modern like that, but
Did something like that with my family's business. We sent out cards that said, I forget, was it because like summer is coming, like because Game of Thrones just ended with winter, so we did something similar like that. I think that's kind of a cool idea. Tie something in.
Good ideas.
So
I just wanted to add one final comment too. I did talk to Amy Vaughn from West Ada. She said that they are going to try to plan to be in the gallery again next year with the framed artists from West Ada School District. I heard a lot of positive things about that show, so I'd love to bring them back and make it hopefully even easier next year for them to get back. I might try to recruit some of you guys to help volunteer, get artwork over, or help possibly even with setting up their initial show over in West Ada, the school district offices, just to make it a little easier for Amy. If we're involved in the show, I think if we're bringing it here, we might be able to have volunteers that help for the reception over there, because that's where they give all the awards to the students. They talk about which ones are getting traffic box art. So they do that at the school district center when all the parents and stuff are there. So it'd be nice to have some representation there also. So hopefully we can continue to use that year after year and always in May and plan for that to be in May.
I think that's a great addition to the gallery.
Well, I don't think we have to make a formal motion for this. I just wanted to bring it up again so that people can continually provide feedback on the record if they want. Or if you guys have other ideas or thoughts for themes, feel free to send them to Bonnie or myself and we'll discuss them too and try to figure out ways to implement them.
Thanks, Hillary. So now on to the Public Art Committee report.
Yeah, so we met on May 16th, and we met actually up in the gallery, because I was hosting the gallery show that night. So a few things that we talked about. I think, as we've mentioned, we are working on the idea of bringing in a consultant to help us with our public art plan. And so we discussed a little bit more about what we want to use them for, so we can narrow down, because we have a limited budget and we want to make sure that we're focusing on using them for the things that we need the most help with. So the big thing was helping us develop and administer a survey that we would administer throughout Meridian, asking folks how they see Meridian and what kind of art they'd like to see and what kind of art they think represents the city well. And so we're talking with Via Partnerships, which is a group out of St. Louis, but they work around the country. And they sent me a couple of sample surveys that they've done for other groups, and it's kind of fun to envision how that will look for Meridian. So we'd also want some assistance with maybe some visioning, and then maybe compiling all the pieces of our plan, although there are some online templates that we can use. So once we have the content, we can put that into the template ourselves. So we've reached out to Via for a statement of work and a an estimate of how much it might cost for them to do that kind of work for us. And we can't start with them until October, so we have a little bit of time to get everything finalized and narrowed down. So we're still talking with them on that. I think that was most of what we talked about. We also had, I don't remember her name, but the woman who is from the Parks Department, who does the trails, and she gave us a presentation about the planned 10 Mile Creek Trailhead, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty cool design that they have in mind, and they're still kind of working on the details for that, and we've got some time. I think they're not going to be ready until 2020 to start with that, so we have some time to talk about what kind of art we want to possibly put at that trailhead, but it was neat to see the design. And I think that's about all we talked about. Am I missing anything, Hillary? The trailhead, the 10 Mile Creek Trailhead, and the public art planning?
Yeah, that's what the last meeting covered. I did want to just, I don't know, I might have missed you saying it, but I did want to get other MAC commissioners' input as far as what they think that the consultant needs to cover, or does PAC want to meet about that again before it comes back to MAC?
I'm not sure. I think, as I mentioned to you in an email, I reached out to VIA
Haven't heard back.
and reported, and I haven't heard anything back from them yet. So, yeah.
Fine. If there's something that sticks out to one of you guys that you would think we would need a consultant for in public art plan, shoot an email to either myself or Jessica, because the public art committee meets next week, so they could discuss that at their committee meeting. And the other thing, you guys had talked about your traffic box wrap action plan. I forgot to include that in your guys's packet. So I wanted to show that to you, just to make sure to have that the action plan has max buy-in and support. Essentially, starting next year, you guys will need to start rewrapping formally wrapped pieces. The first would be Corey K. Ramsey's piece that's on Meridian and Pine. I think it's called Sunset Walk. That was wrapped in 2014. So we're past the. It would have been 5 years this year, but all the other wraps being wrapped in the URA are those small boxes, and it looks like it's in okay enough condition that it could last another year. It's called a 10-year product, and there's no damage to it. But you'll definitely need to rewrap at least that one next year, and then consider others as well. But the committee did talk about, as far as having opportunities outside of the currently approved action plan locations, that they would like to target the fire stations primarily, and then pedestrian crossings that are near schools, and then other pedestrian crossings. So as there's opportunities, you guys might have sponsors that want to take up or wrap on other intersections that are included in your plan. So I don't think I need a motion, but just kind of your consent to say these ones will be coming up as future options for you to wrap, if you like the thought of that.
I had a question. You remember, like a few months ago, we were putting like a statue or something?
Mm-hmm.
Did we do that?
No.
Did we finish that?
So that was for fire station number 6.
Yeah.
And so we had received 3 proposals,
Mhm.
and we decided that we wanted to re-release the RFP to
Yeah.
get a greater diversity of proposals, or hopefully get a greater diversity of proposals. And Hillary, I think those are due June 14th, is that right?
Yep, that's tomorrow. Yep.
You received others?
I have received one other.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to review any of those proposals next week and try to wrap that up, hopefully, so we can. And so we'll report at the next meeting what we've decided and bring it to the whole commission for approval.
Cool.
Were there any issues with kind of the action plan as it's written? I can send it to you guys if you'd rather have more time to review it and then bring it back up in July.
You're talking about the proposed additional signs, right?
Yeah, the proposed additional sign or signals.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves we're going to wrap 5 a year, but you can see, like in 2015, we really wrapped 8. So these dates down here are going to get messed up. There might be years that you guys can only wrap 5 at a time, so you don't want to overcommit yourself to saying that, you know, you can wrap more than what you have funding for. So generally, it would be, this is kind of the order that they would be prioritized as. If you can wrap new wraps, and then past wraps that are at their 5-year mark will be wrapped in their place. Another thing that we'll have to consider that we didn't bid out in our original vinyl wrap proposal to get vendors was the cost of labor to remove an old wrap. So that might be an additional cost that you'll see next year. Actually, let me follow up with Signs, et cetera, about that, and then I'll bring something back to you guys in July.
Yeah, I think we need some more information before we okay
Thanks, Hillary.
it. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Hillary, I seem to recall that sometimes at the 5-year mark, some wraps do need to be replaced because of wear and tear, but some are still in great condition. Would it be possible to consider leaving the ones in good condition to have more budget for new wraps? Or is that not a good process?
I think that's something that could be considered if you guys want. That's something that maybe the Public Art Committee could pick apart a little more and try to figure out what that process would be. So I don't know, like if we just looked at this this chart here, like 2015, if they tried to evaluate which ones of these in 2015 would need to be replaced, would they pick maybe 3 that need to be replaced and then 2 more that could be new at a different location? They'll have to, I mean, it sounds like something that we could do because it does make sense. Like the Corey K. Ramsey one's still in good condition, isn't damaged. So it's worth considering what that process could be. But we should probably have something that's actually detailed or outlined in an SOP.
I know, I'm creating more work, I'm sorry.
I like the idea though, right? So a little bit more of a criteria.
Too. Me too.
Yeah, that's good. It's a
It
great
makes
idea.
sense, but then who then decides whether, you know, what's the criteria to have
Yeah.
criteria for what?
Yeah, how would you make sure? Like,
What determines when something does need to be wrapped if it's not based on just the number of years?
right, it might
Correct.
look good, but it's, in a week, it'll fall off or something.
Would you guys mind actually if I bring this back to you in either August or September? Because I realize that the next PAC meeting, they're going to have to discuss the RFP from Fire Station 6, so then they'd have July or August to dig into that a little more.
Yeah,
Okay.
fine with me.
Sounds good. The MAPS funds planning update.
Yes, hold on. Another thing I forgot to include in your packet. I will go back and add these things to your packet so that you could reference them more easily. So essentially, because the trailhead was then flipped to FY20, and the Fire Station 6 was, because of the timing of the projects, the last approved commission budget that you guys saw is now kind of out of date. We also had talked about as a commission, and you guys had approved increasing the Fire Station 6 budget amount to 35, so that is also new on here. Again, I think we'd also, I want Leslie's input on this one. So what I'll do is add this to your current packet, but include it in your next packet as well, and we can discuss more. But essentially the changes are that you guys removed the $5,000 that you had originally budgeted for a small-scale downtown-focused public art installation to the Fire Station 6 project. And then the 10-mile trailhead project looks like it will be pushed further away as well, or potentially over 2 fiscal years. As they firm up their plans for that site, the Public Art Committee will be included more and will be more knowledgeable about the site itself before they present an RFP to you guys to consider. But the biggest change was the $35,000 as far as this plan goes. And then the next planned art installation was FY21, and that was Discovery Park for a major installation. It was moved up in the planning because of the trailhead project and fire station project that was prioritized. So the budget for that one we had listed in FY21 was 70, but we had talked about it being something that could be a phased project. I don't know if these actually need approvals. I just wanted you guys to see this document, to know that the budget over multiple years is being considered. And that if you guys talk about doing projects that would be like a large-scale project that would have to be phased, you'd have to make sure that components of it are delivered within 1 fiscal year to close out the budget from that fiscal year, and then additional things. You can't commit future funds in future budget years. So you are really looking 1 year at a time. And so this is just kind of a map for your MAPS funds.
Hillary, at our meeting next week, at our PAC meeting, can we talk about our budget?
Yeah.
Because things have changed so much, I think it would be good for us to really
Yeah.
review the details again and make sure that we're all on the same page.
I'll put that right after the fire station thing,
Okay.
so you guys can get into it. And then maybe if you have something different you want to present to these guys or something updated, we can follow up.
Okay. But I just noticed, by the way, that on our agenda, it says June 27th. We're not meeting June 27th, right?
No. Gosh, dang it. No, you're meeting the 20th.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I was following that.
So Jessica, as part of the Public Art Committee, Daniel Borup is going to be, or he's planning on being in town during Art Week.
Mhm.
If he's in the, I guess it's the Boise Art Festival or whatever is it, I'm not sure what they call that. But anyway, it might be really interesting to have him sit down with the committee and any of the commissioners that are interested and just talk about the nuances of sculptural art and the differences, and when we plan something that's $30,000 or whether it's $70,000 or $10,000, what that really means as far as an artist in that genre.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
So if we can, I'd be happy to, because I'll see him in July. And I would think that he would, if he's coming over, I think he would be interested in sharing that information.
Sure, yeah. Let's see if we can get together with him and plan something. Or you're thinking about during Art Week, since he'll be here? Yeah, that would be great.
He said he would maybe do a demo during Art Week. And
Yes,
it's right on
we have him
Wednesday.
tentatively on a Wednesday.
So
Yeah.
might be
thanks.
might be worth our time.
Sure, yeah, that would be great. Thanks for suggesting that.
Okay, Hillary, is that it for the public?
That's it. I just wanted to make sure that those were put in front of you so you had a chance to see them. But apparently I forgot to attach them to your packet. So I might just send those out or send the link out again once I update your packet so you guys could review again if you'd like. And that's all I have for 4D.
Okay. It's on to old business, Meridian Art Week. Maria, do you want to?
So the first item was that Jay wanted to share an email. We're just going to wait until he's here to share that at the next meeting or whenever he's here again.
Okay.
As far as item 2, poster contest application review and selection, Here's the link.
Yeah.
You guys only received 2. I don't know if you guys have already had a chance to review these. One was a youth artist, and she's left space that could be filled in with a text. And then the other, oops, I guess I have to go back. The other was an adult artist who filled in the text herself as part of the design. The bottom part, you might remember, we asked for them to leave blank so that we could include sponsor logos or other.
I like the colors on this one. And looks like a lot of our activities are mentioned.
I feel like there's a lot going on here, though. There's like too much for me. I love the idea, and I like the colors, and it's very exciting and inviting, but I think that it's going to be, someone's going to really have to stand and look at this to figure out what's going on, because there's so many different fonts, and some of it's kind of hard to read because it's just all kind of crammed together.
Yeah, the one thing that doesn't stick out is the downtown Meridian portion, because it's white
Right.
and everything
Right.
else is in color, so
Yeah.
that's kind of important.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's cool, but it's like,
Yeah. I like the chalk portion. I think that's really cute.
Mhm.
we have others though, right?
Oh, there were 2.
Those two.
So the way that let's review how your RFP was written for this. So it's not there. We asked them to include a lot of information. That is probably why it's so busy.
Well, and I think that's okay, but it's not the fact that there's a lot of information. It's the fact that
It's laid out.
there are a lot of different ways that information is presented.
Hillary, can we go back to the youth one?
Yeah.
I wonder if she mentioned all of it, or maybe she graphically put it instead of. Oh, there's nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that one. That's why I was like, wait.
The only thing that I like this piece as well, but the only thing is we're not doing any murals, so kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing with that.
So, in your call, let's see how it reads.
So Hillary, can we, if we like one over the other, can we ask them to make
Edits.
alterations to it based on the whole content?
I'm reading your RFP to see if it allows that. Our wonderful attorney here pointed out that that is included under the submission guidelines. The final version of the poster may be
Yes.
subject to change.
Committee reserves the right to.
That date makes no sense, May 10th. Design. Artists may be asked to sign. You also have the right to reject all artwork submitted during the competition if you guys would rather do something else. We could reach out to that one artist and ask them to alter their design if you guys prefer one of them. Or you could either start over or design your own. Historically, we've designed our own. Could find a more talented visual person on our team than myself.
How long do we have till we have to decide?
You have, yeah,
July 15th.
until Saturday.
Oh, well.
Mysteriously. No, July 15th.
July
So,
Oh.
okay, that makes more sense.
When did we put this out? Okay, so. Do you think we'll get,
March.
is that enough time to get someone new? I don't,
Well, the deadline was last.
The deadline was this
Last
last week.
like week or so.
oh, well then, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there one design that you guys prefer over the other that we currently have?
I like the second one better because, like you said, we're not doing murals. So it's kind of like, what is this, you know? And then, even though it's more busy, I think it had all the information that is going, that we're gonna need on it, so, I don't know.
But if we do, I like this one as well, but I actually think the other one is more artistic, but maybe we can make changes to it, or maybe she's painting the poster on the wall
Sure.
of all the information.
Do we have enough time for that, though? That's what I was wondering. For them to.
When do you have to have the final?
Winner announced?
Well, the problem with the first one was that they didn't include any information, so we don't even know
Yeah.
how they would put it on there or how it would look.
Right.
So I think we'd need to see sort of an interim design before we could say that we wanted to choose that one.
Yes.
I'm not opposed to this one. I like some elements of it. I just feel like if it's, posted on a wall or something downtown and people are walking by, they're not even gonna,
Yeah.
It's too many
it's
words.
gonna be so much that they're gonna keep
Just too many words,
walking.
yeah.
So
Yep.
I think it is a lot of information to put on there. I think it's possible to
Show
include
it.
most of it, or maybe all of it if it were done in a way that weren't quite so busy.
Maybe we could shrink this might be easier if we could shrink the photo and then have all the info like in bullet points on the bottom, like underneath the picture, maybe? I don't know.
I think, she doesn't have to mention chalk art because we see the
Yeah.
little child or the woman
She's saying-
doing chalk.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a way of maybe
Yeah.
creating the piece maybe to show what are the different things that are happening
Yeah.
without having to say it in words.
Oh.
Because I do agree with Bonnie, there's too many words. I think the building kind of suggests downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know and then there's a bunch of like hashtags on the bottom there, so
Yeah.
they can go to find out where everything is nowadays. But yeah, it's definitely got more going on than the other one, but.
I mean, maybe if they just used
There's
like,
too much. There's just too much.
Correct.
There's some repetition there.
if
that-
they just
Correct.
used like the same fonts,
Yeah.
or like 2 fonts instead of
10.
10. I kind of think we do need to say chalk art, because even though there's someone drawing, I think we need to make clear that chalk art is going to be a specific component of
Yeah.
the events happening. But there's just so many different fonts happening that it's kind of overwhelming. So, maybe if we could ask them to pick a couple of fonts and redo it based on that, it wouldn't be so overwhelming. There would still be a lot of information in here, but
I agree.
maybe that would help.
I agree too.
I agree.
Do you think they would be able to make the modifications within a certain timeline? Should we give them a date and then maybe one commissioner overseeing it for approval? I don't know, just to streamline it. Jessica, do you want to be the font expert
Oh, I'm no
Yeah.
font
for
expert.
clarity?
I don't know, Hillary, how would that work if we wanted to ask them to make some amendments and then get back to us with a new version?
I think that this thing.
Is it too late?
Yeah, it's a professional service. It's
Madam Chair.
Yes. Emily?
It's, this isn't really subject to traditional rules regarding RFPs, and this isn't a RFQ. It really is more of a professional service. So if you wanted to, you could engage this artist to make changes to the design. It sounds like you're wanting a complete overhaul. So I don't know if this contest aided you in getting to where you want to go. So given that, you're almost better off having a professional services agreement with a graphic artist, whether it be this particular artist or not. But you're really wanting to change this to a significant degree, change the design that was submitted. So I guess it sounds to me like you want to reject both of the proposals. Not to put words in your mouth, but I think that's kind of where you're headed, and that's okay. You could engage a graphic artist. You could even engage this graphic artist to make a poster. The outcome of your contest is, what I'm hearing you say is that you don't care for the design submitted.
That's what
Yes.
I'm hearing y'all say, is that it's just, there's too much in that. I mean, is that the one of choice? Is that the design of choice? We don't want to engage the second,
Right.
right?
I think if we have, I don't think either designs work as is for us. This is what I'm hearing. But if we are going to have to go with one, what I'm hearing is it's more of this one that would make
Yeah,
more
this
sense.
is definitely a more professional,
Yes, absolutely. But even then, this has,
too much.
it's too much, and it will require significant changes that might not be what she had in mind on her design. So,
So then can we reach out to them and see if they will alter it?
It sounds like, yes, we can reach out to them and see if they will alter it. For the sake of time and discussion, would you guys consider authorizing your Events and Outreach Committee to do the further consultation until like a draft is ready to be brought to MAC? And to help kind of outline or lay out what their expectations are. That way you can have maybe one-on-one consultation with this artist or another artist if that's what ends up in the case. If this artist says no, they don't want to alter their design, that if you guys could authorize the Events and Outreach Committee members to work with this artist if she's interested, or reach out to another graphic artist to help design the poster. That might help keep the project moving.
And what timeline?
I don't know. I think the deadline for advertisements for fall, for the activity guide, which is why this was posted when it was, is soon. I think it's like before your next meeting. She says she would need information by Friday, July 12th. So you meet one more time between now and then. Their consultant that the Parks Department works with also does some graphic design for them for their advertisements. If you'd like to consider working with them directly, that might be another option also.
okay.
If we'd miss that deadline of July 11th, you guys approving something, then the Parks Commission or Parks Department will just have to put something in that's a filler that might not match the same type of branding. I don't know how critical that is to you. But it's a possibility if you miss that deadline.
So Hillary, is it reasonable to, if we're to go back to this artist, to ask them if they're interested in redoing it based on the criteria that we're asking for, the changes? If they can give us an answer to that within a few days, and then have until before the July commissioners meeting to redo this?
Yeah.
Is that reasonable?
It's reasonable on my side of things. I don't know if it's reasonable on the artist side of things. So we can definitely try.
So do we need a motion to do that then?
Madam Chair, are you, is the direction you're going to select this submission, this proposal, and make modifications, authorize your committee to make modifications to the design? Or is it a rejection of all and essentially start over?
My understanding is that this is a design that we like with modifications.
Okay, I would recommend that you do make a motion.
Okay. Could we have a motion?
I move that we go with Sarah Crawford's design, pending modifications to the initial design, as the poster contest winner.
In charge.
Huh?
Events and outreach.
Oh, and having the Events and Outreach Committee, authorizing the Events and Outreach Committee to reach out to the artist directly for any modifications to the design.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Schedule and task discussion for Art Week.
Sorry. Too many tabs. Back to this. So Maria did a great job reorganizing all the information from that programming tab into something that's a little easier to see. So here's kind of what we're expecting may happen during the course of the week as far as MAC-initiated or outreach type of items, correct? We'll also invite Meridian downtown business owners that we might not, some of these are things that we already know about business owners being interested in also. So we'll invite additional business owners to let us know about other programming that they would like to have, that they'd like MAC to cross-promote as part of Art Week. But this is kind of the distribution of programs and MAC or committee lead members for those programs.
Oh, I just wanted to add that Mary Jensen did reach out to me regarding Treasure Valley Children's Theater. They're also going to hold a fundraiser before Art Week, where it's an art and sip event, where they make art, paint and sip event, so that they can create artwork for the art drop.
Oh,
So, I know, it's kind of a cool thing, and so they're doing a couple of fundraisers, paint and sip fundraisers, so that can help make art for art drop. So that might be something we can help cross-promote.
I see on here that I'm in charge of the instrument petting zoo. I would recommend finding a local band or orchestra teacher to volunteer to do that. And if you have any trouble, please reach out to me and I will connect you with someone who can do that.
Thank you.
I wanted to check in on the scavenger hunt, because I saw Jessica's name. Just if you have any ideas or like what you have planned to do.
So Hillary connected me with someone from the Historic Preservation Committee, And I reached out to them, but I haven't heard anything back yet. So I'll get moving on that, and so I can have some updates.
Thanks, Jessica.
Hey, Hillary, can I add something on this real quick? Madam Chair,
Yes.
who's that voice? Just because it's on the agenda for the Thursday art SIP for the Arts Foundation. Part of the program, in addition to the Meridian, or the Mayor's Arts Award, is we have, just as of last week, selected 4 recipients. We've done our grant review process. 4 people, or 4 organizations, will be receiving funding. They'll all be at this art SIP event, and we're going to use it along with the live art that's going on. We're going to celebrate all 4 of those recipients as well. So
Oh, nice.
provide more details to you and keep you in the loop on what's going to happen there.
Great.
It's pretty exciting.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
And then Joe, how much are the tickets for the art SIP? And is there a limited number that are sold?
Unlimited. We'll always say that because we're trying to raise money. So we haven't decided. I think we're going to lower the ticket price a little bit and focus more on some corporate donors. So we're doing that right now. So stay tuned. There is a limitation because of the size of the space. So generally 120 is about it. So we hope to sell out, but we're going to try and restructure the pricing to be more effective at the fundraising purpose of it all.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
And so I think one of the things that we're doing with the Art Week is there's going to be a special gallery opening on Friday night.
Yes.
So that should add to some traffic up to the gallery.
Nice.
Yeah. Because that's so close to Labor Day, 2 out of the 3 artists that were in the gallery couldn't be there for the Tuesday that's right after Labor Day, but one of them was willing to do something on that Friday night. So we'll still have something in the art gallery going on for Art Week, which is great. And he's bringing in a live band, and it should be a really nice reception. So more than anything, wanted to share this with you guys so that you could see it again, see what your kind of tasks or assignments are. I've got a meeting scheduled with Randy B. to talk about the youth music showcase more. So wanted to put this back in front of you guys as far as schedule and task discussion goes. But then the biggest discussion from the last meeting really came from budget estimates and approvals for specific categories, right, that
Yes.
you wanted to reference.
Before we move on, I just wanted to make clear that even though there is a name next to the activity, we would really like other commissioners to also sign up with us. So that's not necessarily mean that we're not asking help on that specific programming. So if you guys can make it, I hope you can make it, but you're not here. But for other commissioners, we would just want to make sure. That doesn't mean that's already taken. It just means all of the programming could use as much help as possible. Yeah. And then we can move on to budgeting.
So a few of the budget items in particular that needed to be discussed. One thing, the budget is limited for Art Week. One thing that the committee brought up was the fact that the Mayor's Awards in the Arts, it was an addition to kind of the Arts Commission, something that we wanted to do and offer, and that it makes sense to award those during Art Week, but they weren't originally planned in last year's budget to be funded from Art Week's budget. So one of the considerations that the committee brought up would be to ask MAC for permission for this year, would be to reallocate funds from your other expenses budget item for those arts awards, trophies, or plaques for that would be awarded during Art Week this year, because those weren't factored in when we were establishing the budget in March of last year. The other clarifications would be how the funding would be dispersed. So currently, the only expense that MAC has approved for Art Week was live bands. You'll see that year-to-date MAC approved budget was for live bands, and that was for $500. Other considerations for approval, whether as individual line items or if you guys would like to approve that the Events and Outreach Committee manage something more broadly, you can do that. But they've broken down their proposed budget in this column here.
On the arts,
Although it includes the art board. Yeah, go ahead.
the arts materials budget, also, I'm not quite, I mean, I'm new, so I don't know the materiality of the chalk art composition, whether or not it warrants $500, or if is the disbursement of the potential budget for art materials, does it make sense? I just don't have the history of what it usually costs for some of those activities. It is I think that's the biggest item in our budget. It does make sense on a broad scale because it is materials that we would need. Just making sure if the disbursement is correct within the arts materials.
Want to speak to that, Bonnie, or?
What do you think?
I'm having a really difficult time hearing you because you're speaking that way.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
No, I wanted to see if the arts materials budget makes sense because it is $650, and that's kind of the breakdown there. If it does make sense, or if do we need more, do we need less for the art materials portion?
So,
Yeah, just that portion. Yeah. It is one of the biggest events, is the Chalk Art Festival, so I think we said it was okay, but we just wanted to make sure.
Hillary, the costs for the supplies for that are, and then, does that also include the prizes? Or is that just prizes?
That is just the cost of materials, because the MDBA has historically sponsored your prizes, and they're deciding on those amounts tomorrow. Request has already gone out to the MDBA, and they pay the prize or awarded artists directly. So it never hits you guys.
So what did last year, did we spend 500 on supplies?
I believe you did. But you have some remaining chalk from last year. We could also get a slightly less vibrant chalk or less,
Because we bought a combination last year.
yeah, we bought a
So I
combination.
think I think it's an okay amount.
Okay, good. I'm more thinking like whether or not it's going to be enough, but if you're thinking it's going to be enough, then we're good.
I think I think that's enough. Do you have any inputs, Hillary, as far as costs?
I think that should cover it. I would actually think that it could be that or less because of what we have remaining from last year.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Then can we do a motion to approve the proposed, or I don't know how to word it, approve the proposed budget? Just the proposed budget column 2,000?
Yeah, I think that would be your motion. If the commission's satisfied with those proposed budget line items, I think that the motion would be a motion to approve the proposed year-to-date proposed budget line items for Meridian Art Week expenses, and that would be not to exceed, what, $2,000? Correct.
Can we have a motion to approve that budget?
I move that we approve the budget. Approve the proposed budget of $2,000 for Art Week as lined up. Ooh, hold on a second. Nope.
Your trophies
I
wouldn't
move
be
that. Okay, move
needed,
that.
right?
Yep. So maybe there's two motions?
Whatever you want to do. So So your motion, you're suggesting that the two motions would be one motion to approve that the award budget come out of other expenses. And then would you want to use that $400 in another way throughout these other expenses for Art Week? Or would you like the Arts Commission to approve not to exceed 2,000 so that you have the freedom to spend possibly more on marketing or possibly more on a film screening license?
So first motion, I move that we move the Arts Awards trophies and plaques costs to other expenses rather than having it be part of the Arts Week budget.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried then that we will take the expenses for the trophies out of the Art Week budget, and that the budget remains at $2,000.
Then I move to approve the Art Week budget of not to exceed $2,000 for this year's Art Week.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the budget is approved for $2,000 for Art Week. On to reports, Meridian Symphony Rising Stars report.
This was a fantastic concert. The pianist played the fastest I think I've ever seen a pianist play, and this audience was very responsive, and the seats were filled. It was a very positive event for performing arts. Yeah.
The West Ada Student Art Show Framed.
You want, I can report on that one. I think it went really well. Both Bonnie and Jennifer were able to see all of the works and serve as the judges for you guys. I think from the feedback that I heard when I was presenting those that were recommended for traffic box reps, both from Council and MDC, there seemed to be a lot of joy in the ones that you guys selected. There was nothing contentious this year, which was nice. Everybody loves the cow jumping out of the airplane, so that's going to be great. The only contention from that is where it would be wrapped. Everybody wants it wrapped by them, so that's a good thing. Like I said, Amy wants to continue a partnership as long as she's the coordinator to partner with Initial Point Gallery and have an exhibit in May, which is wonderful. And I think that they'll continue to do themes next year as well. This year's theme was something to the effect of like Idaho, appreciating Idaho in our communities. So next year what they'll do is they'll kind of poll out to all of the art teachers and have them recommend themes, and then they'll have a smaller committee of people narrow down what those themes are and then put something out that's maybe like only top 3 from all of the suggestions, and then the arts educators can again vote and weigh in on which one of those top themes that they really want their students to be producing work towards. The theme, I think, also helped it be a more cohesive exhibit in the gallery, and it made it a more cohesive exhibit, more interesting or engaging, I think, for the students and families also at the reception at West Ada as well. That's the bulk of my report.
Idaho Commission on the Arts Training.
Jennifer, do you want to take this one?
Sure. This was a great experience. I believe by all, our brains were completely full by the end of the day with so many ideas. And I know that I have lots of notes for future endeavors. Stuart having access to someone who can instantly answer your questions that you've always wondered about. Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we go this way? And Stuart had every bit of information that we asked of him and more. And he also kept us on a timeline, which was greatly appreciated, which was no small feat. Would anyone else like to weigh in your thoughts?
And we finished early.
That was
It was
awesome.
great. It was great. It was very good, very good.
That was my first workshop, so.
And everybody should have gotten the notes that he forwarded.
I did not get the notes, actually.
Not.
Oh,
Yeah, I did. I was looking back at my emails because I knew we were going to talk about it. I actually didn't get the notes
I didn't get
that
I
with
think
his
Leslie-
templates that he worked on.
Leslie has all those, so maybe
I
we
see.
can ask her.
Okay, I will reach out to Leslie.
And Stuart did say that ICA has a bunch of free resources that we can tap into at any time. So if we ever are focusing on certain projects, we should at least ping someone from ICA to see if there's a way that they can strengthen our endeavors and streamline us so that we're not wasting extra energy that we can use focusing towards a goal.
Thanks, Jennifer. The 2019-2020 traffic box call to artist responses.
So the special meeting that took place on May 18th, this ended up being one of the items on that, approving or selecting which responses were to be retained in the repository. So there's links here to all the responses, and then the Excel doc of the scores and a PDF from that scoring document. So I'll just show you guys that, go through it. But essentially oh, this is an old one, of course. I'm sorry. Let me go to the Excel sheet, which is hopefully up to date. No. How is this happening to me? Okay, sorry. So I didn't provide you the appropriate thing. Let me show you the repository instead. A quorum of members approved those selections. That was then turned into a resolution, which was approved by City Council on Tuesday. Or we'll go to traffic box art. Okay, so it has the wrong numbers in the link, but this is the correct thing. Okay. So here are the approved works from the May 18th meeting. And these selected works for RAPs that we're developing agreements for include, I believe, Unicorn Ice Cream by Nicole Branham. I'll have to lean on the people that were present at that meeting now, too. Ann Sorensen Watson's Meridian of Time, a.k.a. Funky Town, Hope Bunny. I think there was actually only 3 that you guys selected, correct, for RAPs for this year?
Yes, and I wanted to add that Ann Watson Sorensen is on the Meridian magazine, this the latest one.
Yes, she's on the cover of it. And I think that
And
Joyce
that
Green
painting is on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that Joyce Green, one of our longtime volunteers, is also featured in that same magazine. So we need to get a copy of that, or like 3 copies of that.
They mention us, Mac.
Great. So yeah, here's your repository. I would like to create something that's kind of like an invitation to sponsors to sponsor works as well that we could share in a press release or on Facebook, or et cetera. So I will try to get something drafted and sent to you guys. Actually, I already have something drafted, but I haven't included it. So I'll send it to you all to review and approve.
Thank you.
You guys have gotten a sponsor or 2 each year, so it's definitely worth reaching out. We did have people that had reached out in the past that didn't really necessarily like anything in the current repository, but that I will send the newly approved repository directly to so that they could review and see if there's something from there that they'd like to wrap this year or within the next 2 years.
Thanks Thanks, Hillary. Strategic Plan Facilitator Workshop Report and Draft Review.
Was there? Was it just you, Maria? No, Jessica was there.
There.
You want to talk about your experience?
That was my second workshop. We had that. And it was great. I think it was a really great experience for everybody there. It helped us with our vision and kind of organizing our thoughts. And I think we tried to represent everybody well. I know not everybody was there, but she was really able to help organize our thoughts and sort it out to I think, as a good start of a plan.
I agree. I think she did a great job of helping us focus on the things that we want to do and have the capacity to do. And we, I think, also kind of created a list of things that we would love to do if we ever have the time and capacity to do it. So I think moving some of those would be great to do items off of our plate for now is going to help us focus on the things that are most important to us and that we actually have the time and money and energy to complete. And it was kind of fun to, I don't know, dream about where we could go and what things are possible for us in the future. So, and what things we're actually going to be doing in the next few years. That was great.
Great. And then Hillary, we need an action item on when this is approved is.
Excuse me. Sorry, I wanted an action item from you guys just for you, like a motion to approve that I share this draft with Mayor Tammy or other staff so that I can get their comments or input also. So that hopefully we can consolidate your guys' comments on this draft as well as their comments on the draft. Have something that's more finalized. If you'd rather, though, proceed with just your comments first, present a second draft, and then get that to share with Mayor Tammy, that might make more sense, just so it's a little bit more polished or refined.
I agree. I think we need a second draft so that others that were not there can get a chance to look at the draft and make changes as necessary.
Okay. So since I don't need your approval to share it, then I don't think you need a motion.
Okay.
But please review it and send comments to me, and then I can consolidate all those comments for review.
I think we should set a deadline for the review, however, before we go any further. Is there a specific deadline that it should reach, Mayor Tammy? Am I help?
If you work backwards.
Yes, well, I'd like to work backwards.
So it has to be, in my eyes, since your current plan ends at the end of this fiscal year, you would need council to have it approved before the end of September. That being said, you also want to give room to council to also make suggestions or changes, right? So you might present them with it and say, this is what we'd like to do, and then they might say, I don't like X, Y, and Z. I want you to reevaluate those. So in that regard, I think you guys should be submitting something to council's review by August 20th or 13th. So it'd be nice to give Mayor Tammy at least 2 to 3 weeks to review it also. So you're looking at having it, your second draft reviewed by your next MAC meeting anyway, or shortly thereafter. So
That makes sense.
You could say the deadline is July 11th to have all your comments turned in. And then if there's more discussion that needs to be made at that time, you could authorize your strategic plan committee to make any additional changes before submitting that towards Mayor Tammy for her review. I don't know. That
So any
makes sense.
any comments then need to be directed to Hillary before the meeting on the 11th of July? So do a motion, Hillary? Or do we?
I don't think we need a motion, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the deadline, let's just pretend like the deadline for your comments is actually July 8th. That would be ideal, to give me some time to consolidate and review everything. That's a Monday after the 4th of July. Jennifer, if you want to send comments too, you can.
Am I allowed to after the fact, or I don't know?
Still a citizen. I don't know. They don't have to listen to you. You're not voting for anything, but
That's true. No one has to listen to me.
We would though. Let's see. Fiscal year 2020 budget enhancement update.
I just wanted to inform you guys that the budget enhancements that we submitted to the mayor and city council have not been chopped yet. So they're still moving forward, but there's another budget workshop. So onward and upward.
Treasure Valley Children's Theater.
I think I mentioned it earlier, but she did reach out to me regarding the fundraisers that they're doing that is kind of connected to Art Week, Bean and Sip. They're having Mulan Jr. out there in City Hall Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. It's free because it's completely sponsored. And so I think if we can have a couple of mad people, I know I'd like to come see it one of the nights. It's just right out there in the plaza. So they worked really, really hard. And that's all I really had in terms of that.
Initial Point Gallery. I came to one of the openings during the May time frame, the May opening for the student art, and there was no one there,
Oh,
unfortunately.
Yeah, it was the same when I was hosting. Nobody came. So I don't know if we need to do better marketing for that next year, or if there's something else that we can do to draw folks in. There was some great art up there. It was sad to see no one there.
I suspect with the event that the school had when they do their awards and things, I think that's probably what drove people to that, and maybe not to the gallery.
right, right.
So I don't have anything, because I haven't done any other openings, so I don't know if there's anything else.
I don't think there's anything else on that. That's all right. Monthly expenses. Here's your summary. Always so small.
So approval of the monthly expenses.
Okay, let's not approve the monthly expenses. I'm going to show you your OpenGov revenue because that's real. I don't know what just happened here. It says updated 6/4. Since we don't have a document for you to approve, let's just not look for an approval for it. This link, for whatever reason, it should work. It should direct you to OpenGov, which is the same thing that you could access through our homepage as well. If anything, we're loading for us. So all of your expenses are up to date through OpenGov, but I'm not looking for your approval at this time. My
We'll do that
apologies.
at the next meeting.
This is up to date. Wonderful. You guys could just read this admin report. It's pretty brief and repetitive, as it usually is. So it just repeats the days for Meridian Art Week, the promotional video that we've talked about with our communications manager, the film clips have been rescheduled to take place in late June due to the artist schedules, so that we can make sure to include high quality clips that include work that we'll have them doing for us. The current gallery exhibit is Teresa Rudd, Mary Gardner, Gary McCall, and Janet Sturgill. Janet's staying with us through the end of July as the 3D artist. And then the next exhibit will have Carrie Silvernail and Mark William Watkins. Jessica, did you want to share anything from the reception with Teresa, Mary, Gary, and Janet?
I think it was about as well attended as most of them are. The people who came mostly were folks who are family or friends of the artists. But I really enjoyed getting to chat with the artists about their process and their work, and it was really cool to. I was talking with Janet for a while about her ceramics, and it was really cool just to hear more about how they do things. And I don't know, there were processes involved in making pottery that I had not been familiar with before, so it was cool to hear a lot from her about that. So it's a great show, and you guys should go check out all of the work that's up there if you haven't already.
I had an out there thought for the Initial Point Gallery and how we might be able to market more. Randy B., are you a video expert, or do you know video people?
Not too many, no.
I was just wondering what everyone thought. This is out there, but it might be a good idea to live stream these openings where everyone can see people there and the artist can speak personally about their work. And then I think that it might attract a bigger crowd because people will want to be on the live stream.
Sure.
There. I don't
a good
know
idea.
if that just creates more work or not, but
Not really. You can just set it up on like a table and just leave it there if people want to watch it.
could people pick it up and like talk and
Sure.
show things?
Yeah. It's just,
The live messenger
yeah.
video.
Do we have access to that equipment? I haven't done that before, so,
We would need access to the accounts.
okay.
I don't know how to do that, but
There might be a bandwidth issue with depending on where we host because it's going to be 3 hours or 2.5 hours long.
Probably not
could
do
be
the
a
whole thing.
bandwidth
Just the
issue.
first hour
Yeah.
or half
Yeah.
hour?
Mhm.
Okay.
like Instagram, I think it goes up to like highest live. The longest live you can do is like 2 hours or something. So, and then from there it's like, okay, I can't share this.
Yeah.
It's too much. But yeah, we could do like 30 minutes, an hour, or something like that, and just walk around, show people, and yeah. And then you share it, and then other people that haven't watched it during the exact, they can watch it later. So
That's a great idea. Or
Yeah.
even if we don't live stream the whole thing, I think it's a great idea to have the artists give a little spiel.
yeah.
And we could at least record that and share that. That's a great idea.
Oh, good.
Just remember that some artists are sort of introverts,
Yeah.
so that, you might
Right, it
not
wouldn't be a
get
requirement.
participation.
It would be, right, it wouldn't be a requirement, but if there are artists
It's
who
a good
are
idea.
especially outgoing or who want to share their work, I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
You always have a friend or spouse that's outspoken, I think.
Anything else on the report, Hillary, that you want to add?
No, we just I'll need to follow up with committees and make sure that all of our committee meetings are getting scheduled. That's it.
So the next meeting is there anything else that anybody else has to add? Next meeting is July 11th at 3:30. So at this time, I'd entertain somebody adjourning.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Meeting adjourned.
Great. All right, guys. Thank you.